Transgender identity means identifying with a gender that is different than the one you were born with. Often, transgender people say they have been born in the wrong body. Transgender people have daily struggles and face discrimination in multiple aspects of their lives. Discrimination has occurred towards the transgender community for ages. Native Americans use the word verde, which is a European slurred word that is given to men who take on a traditionally female role. Thomas Hall, who was a servant in the 1620s, dressed in both male and female clothing. He was ordered by the Virginia court system to wear male pants and a woman's apron and cap to humiliate him. Joseph Lobdell, who was born as Lucy Ann Lobdell, lived as a man for 60 years but ultimately was arrested for wearing men's clothing and was incarcerated in an insane asylum. During the Civil War, there were at least 240 soldiers known to be of the female gender who dressed in men's clothing. Albert Cashier was born as a woman, but was unable to fight in the war due to being a female and dressed as a man to fight in the war and lived the remainder of her life as a male. Dr. Alan L. Hart was an American physician and tuberculosis researcher. He also happened to be transgendered. He was the first trans man to undergo complete hysterectomy and gonadectomy. He did this under the supervision of a psychiatrist. In 1952, Christine Jorgensen was the first trans woman to have sexual reassignment surgery. She was drafted in World War II and was stationed in Europe. While there, she heard of sex reassignment surgery. She underwent operations starting in 1951. Later in life, when she tried to marry, she was unable to obtain a marriage license due to her license stating she was born male. Her fiancé lost his job, and the wedding was called off. In the 1980s, the American Psychiatric Association added gender identity disorder to the DSM, meaning it was considered to be a psychiatric disorder. If a patient wants sex reassignment surgery, it needs to be done under the supervision of a psychiatrist. In 2013, the APA removed gender identity as a psychiatric disorder and replaced it with gender dysphoria. This is an inner conflict between assigned gender and gender identity. This is still considered to be a psychiatric disorder. While the LGBTQ community is more widely accepted today, bullying and harassment is on the rise with transgendered youth. Federal law now imposes strict guidelines on transgender bullying and harassment. Title IX is a federal law that prohibits discrimination in the school system. It is part of the Education Act. In 2014, the U.S. Department of Education entered gender discrimination into the guidelines. The Equal Access Act allows for protection in the school system and allows for the inclusion of transgender youth into sports, clubs, and bands. The First Amendment is for freedom of speech. This includes the transgender population and their expression of identity. In 2017, President Trump overturned President Obama's guidelines and implemented a new set of guidelines. The old guidelines allowed transgender youth to use restrooms and locker rooms that corresponded to their gender identity. Title IX is part of the Education Amendment Act. It allows the transgender youth to be called by their chosen name and categorized as their chosen gender. It also represents the use of the right pronouns. With regards to harassment and bullying, there are harsher punishments. This includes expulsion from the school system, as harassment and bullying of a transgender student is considered to be a hate crime. The Education Act allows transgender youth to dress as they want to represent themselves as long as it obeys the guidelines for dress code. Title IX also protects transgender youth and their identity and identity status. This means that the student's transition status and gender identity are kept private.